Hello, welcome back to my channel, and thanks to all the new subscribers. It really means a lot. I only put my first proper video out last week and I got like 80 subscribers since then, which is, you know, you have to start somewhere. And looks like I didn't get many unsubscribers, which is really cool. So thanks to all you people. I hope you stick around for more when I get into the proper videos. Still doing kind of start off stuff. So today I just thought I'd talk about my history of gaming, how I got into video games, and how I got into the collecting side of things. So for me it started back in when I was a kid in the early 80s. The first system I had any exposure to was the Atari 2600. I didn't own it myself, and you know, as a young child, it was a friend of mine here in Killinarden, where I live in Tallaght. A friend of mine got one for Christmas or whatever, acquired one, stole it, I don't know. But I used to go up to his house weekday mornings, or more at the weekend, to play it. Some games that really stood out for me at the time were Hero, River Raid, and the one I was obsessed with was Pele's Soccer. Now, River Raid and Hero still stand up today. Like they're still quality games, and I've got emulators. I have a 2600, but play the odd emulation now and again. I'd still play Hero. It's a cool game to play even today. Graphics are pretty shitty, but you know, it's a 30-40-year-old console. But Pele's Soccer, man, that has not aged well at all. I'll put a video up here of it. I was obsessed with the game. Man, I couldn't believe I felt like I was playing real football. But looking at it today, it's like there was like 3 players tethered to each other running around the pitch again. Oh my god, it looks shit. But yeah, that was one of my earlier memories anyway. And I you know, I really loved the 2600. And there was an arcade close to where I lived, the Casanta Snooker Hall. Sounds a bit dingy, but there was an arcade section where kids could go in during the day and play. And some games I really loved at that time was Bomb Jack and R-Type. The arcade R-Type was amazing. I was obsessed with that game as well. First gaming system that I ever owned was the Commodore 64. I got it for Christmas, I think towards the end of the 80s. I can't really remember, but it's definitely the first one I owned. And that got me into computing, and you know, eventually I got a career in IT, and I think it all started back then with the Commodore 64. It was a great system. There were some really great games. I always remember going to Tallaght Village, where I lived as a kid. At the weekend, you know, I'd save up my pocket money, get some of the cassette games that came on it, and yeah, really great. Some standout games that I remember are New Zealand Story, Flimbo's Quest, Great Guyana Sisters, which was the Mario Brothers rip-off, and California Games. Man, that was really great. I have really great memories of New Zealand Story during the big epic snow in the late 80s, early 90s here in Tallaght, and everyone was stuck in their house, couldn't get out, so I was playing New Zealand Story pretty much all the time. It was great. The Sega Master System appeared in my house at one point. I'm not sure how. I know eventually we owned it, or I owned it, I can't remember, but my mother used to always play. I think it had Donkey Kong built into it, and yeah, even my mum was gaming in the early 90s. She was obsessed with Mario and all these kind of things. But yeah, the Master System was the next one up from the Commodore 64. Eventually, for Christmas one year, I got an Amiga 1200, and you know, that for me was the game changer. That was life changing. The games on it were incredible. They were better than the Sega Mega Drive, the Genesis, better than the Super Nintendo. They were, you know, they were 32-bit games back when everyone was playing their 16-bit consoles. Yeah, that was amazing. Some of the standout games on there, there's so many games and that was the thing I did most of my gaming on. It got me eventually onto PC games, was the Amiga 1200. But Alien Breed was a cracker of a game. Alien Breed 2 as well. I remember in the early 90s myself and my sister used to play Alien Breed Terror Assault, 2-player, you know, multiplayer back then, the early 90s. In my mom's kitchen, we'd have a portable setup, and so Friday evenings, that's what we'd be playing. I mean, Alien Breed Terror Assault is one of the most difficult games I've ever played. I remember the fucking aliens were invisible in the thing. Like, what fucking hope had you got? The first few levels were great to play through, and we just played through them over and over again. When we got stuck or died, we just reset it, start the game up again. So as I said, the next step up from the Amiga 1200 is when I got a PC. I think that was 1994. Like, nobody had desktop computers in Tallaght in 1994, but I got one. My mum got one on hire purchase, which is a thing where you pay bit by the week. Like, it was so expensive. I remember by the time she was finished paying the computer, it was, you know, as computers always are, it was like selling for 10% of what she paid. But that was unreal. It was a 486 DX2, 66 megahertz. Came with 4 megabytes of RAM. I remember at the time we were buying it, we got the big upgrade to 8 megabytes of RAM, which was like amazing. It's funny to look back, you know, over 20 years ago, the specs of computers compared to what they are now. But that's where I did so much gaming all through the 90s. I kind of turned my back on consoles for a lot of the 90s. I had no real interest. I did get a PlayStation 1 when it was released, and I sold it within a week. I couldn't believe that PCs were at the PCs were, you know, up to the standard where you're playing high definition games in the mid 90s. Like literally were high definition on you know, CRT monitors, whereas PlayStation was just caught back in time with really low resolutions, 320 by 200 I think. So yeah, I was pretty blown away that the PlayStation was that bad. Years later I realised my mistake. It's an incredible system, but I sold the PlayStation within a week of owning it and went back to PC games. I don't know if anyone out there was into PC gaming, but back in the early 90s it was a difficult thing to be interested in. I'm sure a lot of you remember nightmares with autoexec.bat, what's it, config.sys. You'd have to edit these files on your computer to work with the base memory. There was so little base memory that every game had to share. You had to juggle with sound card drivers, this type of thing. But that further got me more into computing, and further got me down the road to get the career in IT that I have today. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for video games back then. They really did help people. You know, there's so many games that I played on PC that I can't remember. I literally can't remember. But some of the standout games at the time I was getting the PC that I was really excited to play was US Navy Fighters and Wing Commander 3, because they were next level graphics and not so much gameplay. Looking back, Wing Commander 3 had very little gameplay, but the graphics were amazing. Like I remember looking in magazines when I still had the Amiga 1200, waiting on the PC to come, and my jaw was on the floor. These systems were these games were unbelievable. So that's it. Kept playing PC games, still play PC games today. I have a huge collection, and it's a pity because they're not the most valuable or interesting thing to collect. It's always the obscure console games that, you know, increase in value, become very rare and very hard to find. PC games, not so much. There are one or two, but I still collect for the PC anyway. It was the mid-noughties, around 2005, that I really got back into consoles. I bought a PlayStation 2 towards its end of life, realised, you know, I've missed out on a lot here. Gradually started getting back into the consoles that came before the PlayStation 2, like the PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, all of these. And it was around 2005, 2006 when I really got the bug for collecting. I felt I had a lot to catch up on. I was wrong with what I thought about the older consoles. Because it's not about graphics. When I turned on that PlayStation 1 in the 90s and seeing the shitty graphics, like, I didn't realise the amount of amazing games that I was going to miss out on. But that's what got me into collecting, and you know, I've got all these amazing games back, and I have a classic, you know, I have a great collection now. I've caught up on so much. Obviously I can't play all of these games. I have so many. I have over 3,000 games. I have over 600 PlayStation 2 games. But I find time, you know, when I can. I play some of the older retro games when I can, and still play modern games today. I've just got myself a PlayStation 4, so I played through The Last of Us on that only a couple of weeks ago, which is amazing. So that's pretty much it. That's my gaming history. Hope you liked the video. As I said in the first video, I'm hoping to do one video per week, so hoping you'll stick around. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you very soon.